So, I would love to describe why I have chosen medicine as a career path. And I think a good way to describe it is to tell a little story about myself. So, every night, my father and I, after dinner, would go to walk our dog around the block. And during this walk, my father and I would talk about various things, school, daily things that happen throughout our day, and just philosophical things that may have been brought up, things that he wants to teach me, things that I have questions about. I was always a very curious person as a child, and it's kind of translated into questions that have become more and more difficult for my father to answer so succinctly. And so they turn into these debates. But anyways, as we're walking down the street one night, we're walking around the block and we're just talking, and eventually we come back around and we get to the garage of our house, and we open the garage door and there's this smell coming from the garage. It's kind of familiar, but at the same time it's a little alarming and concerning. And I look at my dad and he's kind of panicked and confused and freaking out. He's fumbling for the keys and he finds the key and opens the door, and a plume of smoke comes out. And so this entire area in our living room had been completely covered in this hazy fog, and it just smelled like burnt vegetables. It smelled absolutely awful. And so we're walking around the house, the lights are all off, there's just smoke everywhere, there's not any doors or windows open to let out this burnt smell. And I am walking around the house, I call out for my mom, and she's standing at the top of the stairs, and she's completely unfazed, and I just look at her, and she doesn't really say anything, she doesn't do anything, and I walk up to her and I reach my hand out, and she drops to the floor, and she just starts crying. And so basically she had left a vegetable on the stove, whether it was intentional or not, I have no idea still, but she had left it on the stove and it started to burn. And all while this is happening, my grandmother comes out. She's confused, panicking. She has incense in her hand, trying to cast prayers or chant these prayers to help remove any of this affliction that is in our house. And so just amidst this chaos, I just remember being so calm and just being so present in the moment. And I just remember sitting there with my mother, talking to her, trying to understand what happened from her perspective. And it reminds me of this character quality that I have of being calm in a situation that is chaotic, that is stressful, that is confusing. And it's one of the reasons that I've come to learn that I want to pursue medicine, is because I can stay calm in the face of all of these things.